What's up, guys? Welcome back to Diesel Creek. If this is your first time joining us, my name's Matt. Today's video is going to be about the project before the project, as one of my commenters so aptly said it the other day. Basically what I'm saying is I got some broken stuff that I need to use today to do another project, so let's get that stuff fixed. First and foremost, I need to do some water pumping today, and I have several old school home light water pumps, and this one is the one that I have all the right hoses for to do what I need to do today. And the last time I used it, it ran fine. The problem I was having was the recoil starter in here. The one-way bearing was locking up and it was binding the whole thing up, and it was just a mess. So we'll see if I can recreate that for you real quick. I don't think this thing's been running probably a year or so. So let's see if I can get it fired up and see if it's gonna screw up for us today, so you can see what I'm talking about. Set the choke. Pull her little throttle out here and give her. Yeah, I can already hear it. The one-way bearing seasoned. Did you hear that? Now, you might get it running and it might instantly lock up and bind the motor up and shut off because all the crankshaft is turning against the rope here. Or it might run for 20 minutes and then lock up on you. I'm not going to sit here and pull my arm off for 10 hours. Yeah, you guys hear that? That ain't good. So I'm pretty sure it's an easy fix. I've never done one of these, but I've had them apart. So we got to pull this cover off and then take the one-way bearing nut off of the flywheel. No. Alright, the recoil itself is fine. This is the mechanism that is giving us our issue. There's the problem. See all those little balls that just fell everywhere? I wasn't supposed to do that like that. So there should be 5 ball bearings, and we're missing 3 of them. 2 of them. My mistake, there's 6 ball bearings. I've located them all, luckily. Yeah, you see all that dirt and nastiness coming out of there? Soak those balls down. Gonna want to rub your balls real nice like this until they're all nice and shiny. Yeah, look at that. I got pretty balls now. I didn't say anything dirty. You guys are taking it there yourselves. I'm gonna have to tilt this thing completely up on its back quickly just to get all the balls back in this thing. Just stick all your balls down here. Oh, don't drop your balls. There we go. 3, 4, 5, 6. Now they're not going to sit in there because it's all ramped. It dishes out to the middle. So I'll wipe this thing down while I'm at it. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Give this a little spritz with the coil. Yeah, shoot some in here too so it's on the shaft. Perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in here, and all you should have to do, maybe. Just spin it backwards, and all the balls should roll into their places. So to reassemble this thing, we'll go ahead and stick our shaft thingy on there. I'm not sure what the technical term for that is. And then we'll just place all of our balls down in the individual grooves, and then reinstall our dust cover. There we go. That's a good illustration of how that works right there. Can you see? So the balls are always locking in on one of these little paws here, and then once the engine starts spinning, centrifugal force will drive all these balls out here to their appropriate places. And that's what we were having problems with. One of those balls was hanging up somehow. Go ahead and reinstall our dust cover. Next, our little grass screen here. And this screen should also help keep that seal pressed down there. Yeah, see, I'm actually missing 2 bolts out of this. That could be part of our issue. That seal might have been coming loose, allowing those bearings to come out of place. Alright, I dug and dug through my repertoire of nuts and bolts and screws and stuff, and I can't find 2 more bolts like that. I don't have a 1, so we'll go ahead and just put this back together. It's not real hard to get to. If I can't make it work like this, I'll run up and buy a couple bolts. But it worked like this for a long time, so I think we'll be okay. Okay, let's see how that does for us. Maybe this thing will actually fire up. Wow, 1 pull. Tell me the main jet's clogged, no doubt. Or the fancy little diaphragm in here is withered. Just like the Briggs & Stratton engineers intended. Well, that's 1 down, 1 to go. This guy here. Now, as you can clearly tell, it's the wrong color for me. I am not a John Deere fan, but that's okay because John Deere didn't actually make this thing. Some probably Chinese company did, and they just slapped their name on it. So what this is a gas-powered air compressor. So we've got a compressor on the back here, 2 tanks, unloader valve, pretty basic, not much to these things. And this will be really handy for going out on equipment revivals and stuff, or just working anywhere remotely where I could use air and don't currently have access to it. So picked this thing up off my neighbor Gary yesterday. He's never run it. He got it from a buddy or something, and that's about all I know about it. Pulls over, has compression. We did shoot a little bit of ether in it yesterday just to say it ran. It does run on ether, and I put some gas in it here, and it will not run. So that means carburetor issues. So I believe that's gas on, choke on, throttle's all the way back, kill switch is off. we got nothing. So let's see what this carburetor looks like, because I'm certain that's our trouble. That's lovely. Looks like somebody just took a screwdriver and punched holes in the air cleaner. Why in the world you would do that, I don't know. So I have to replace that. And we got to take this piece of plastic housing off of here. There's that thing. There's a case breather that goes on this port right here. So yeah, this looks like we got a fuel valve right here. There's even a little plastic filter housing down here by the looks of it. And this should just slide right off of here now. Before I even bother taking the whole thing off, we'll go ahead and pop the bowl off, see what the bowl looks like. Guys, got any guesses what's behind door number 1? Oh. Ugh. Some nasty looking fuel. Ooh, yep, that's varnish. Oh man, that's a putrid smelling varnish. I don't know. Maybe they were using low octane? I don't know. Ugh. You guys see how nasty that thing is? That ain't good. So yeah, judging by the looks of that, we better take the whole thing off. I'm just going to go ahead and remove this fuel tank so that I don't get covered in fuel and wind up spilling it everywhere. I think when I put some fuel in it earlier, I think it looked like it had some dirt floating in it. So there goes the fuel dumping everywhere. Okay, all that just to get the carburetor off. Oh my goodness, and you still really can't get it off because this stinking rail right here. What a terrible design. Oh, well, I'm not taking the whole motor off just to get that out. I'm gonna go ahead and try to unthread these studs out of the block. Hopefully we can do that. I tore our gasket coming out, son of a diddly. Things aren't looking good. Well, that's good. At least the stud's coming out. The first one, anyway. All right. Finally. That was an endeavor, but we have our carburetor off. All right, let's get our carburetor tore apart here and figure out where our blockage is at. Upon first look, she doesn't look too bad, but everything is nice and stuck, I'll tell you that. I'm not wanting to really come apart here. And that pin was in there pretty bad. There's our needle and seat. Float's good. Doesn't have any gas in the inside of the float. There's like a little filter looking thing here on the bottom. Oh, I'm gonna break this thing. Oh, there it goes. This thing's got 12 miles of threads on it. Holy crap. There we go. Man. Not too bad. I don't know if you guys can see, it's maybe a little crusty in there, but not bad at all. Yeah, not much. Put that with some carb cleaner, let it sit. Our bowl, our fuel bowl, you can see there's a lot of water in the fuel, so we're definitely gonna have to clean the tank out. But it's got that lovely yellow discoloration and crystallization of the fuel on the side, so we'll go ahead and shoot that up with some carb cleaner, let it soak a bit, and we'll start working our way into the body of this thing. Now Wes over at Watch Wes Work said the other day that he remains firm you cannot make an interesting video rebuilding a carburetor. And I don't know, I find it's one of the more enjoyable tasks I do, but I guess to be on the side of the computer screen watching somebody else do it, maybe a little less fun. What do you guys think? That little orifice is nice and clean. No issues there, it doesn't look like. Sometimes these little ports on these jets and everything else are so tiny, you get a torch cleaning set, torch tip cleaner, and it's got all these different little teeny wire sizes that are good for cleaning out these little ports that are microscopic. Right now I can't even see if this one has a port. Okay, it does. And it's tiny. Actually, it doesn't even look like my torch tip cleaner goes small enough to get in there, and that's saying something. I use air a lot too. Make sure they're blown out good with air. This little guy's pretty crusty. Definitely plugged up solid. For me, there's nothing more satisfying than taking the time to really go through this meticulously, cleaning and inspecting, discovering your problems, and then when you're done, the thing just fires right up and works. That's a good feeling. That's why I enjoy doing a lot of this stuff. These main jets can be quite a pain. Your best bet, if you don't have a screwdriver that engages the whole slot in the jet, grind one down so it fits, because you can strip these main jets out really easy. And it's important to get them out because maybe you can see there's a bunch of small holes all around that thing, and those tend to get clogged up. Alright, well we got our nice clean carburetor reassembled back on the machine here. I guess the next thing we need to do is dump out the gas tank, make sure it's clean, and put some fresh gas in it, put the tank back on there, and we'll be ready to fire up. Okay, let's see what we got inside of this fuel tank here. It's a heavy fuel tank. Got some good baffles in it or something. Alright, really that fuel doesn't look too bad. I think we probably could have run it on that. The discolorations from the oil that was in this pan, watching it come out of the nozzle here, the stream looks pretty good. Alright, the fuel tank's nice and clean inside, not even worth trying to show you. And this is the trickiest part of these kind of Honda clone engines. And that's trying to get this fuel hose stuck back on the fuel tank. What happens is you can either get the clamp or the hose. You can't get both. See? Hey, there we go. Now just to slide this clamp up here. I have no idea if you guys can see what's going on, but I'm trying to slide the clamp up onto the hose. Actually, tell you what, that oil looks brand new. I was going to change it, but really, this oil looks like somebody just changed it. I mean, there's no color to it. Doesn't smell like gas or anything. We should be good. Perfect. This is mixed gas, that's why it has the color. I'm using mixed because it's just what I got handy, and I like the smell. Just putting enough in there to see if it runs. Alright, the moment of truth here. We'll turn our gas on, see if we start leaking gas everywhere. I'm hoping not. Looking good so far. Choke is on, throttle's up. Now there's no air valve over here. The tank just has an open fitting on it right now. So as soon as this thing starts, it's gonna start hissing air like crazy until I get a fitting in that. Also, I'll flip the unloader over here just to see what that does. Yeah. Let's give her. So it is making air, but I feel like I'm hearing some goofy noises in the compressor side here. I did check the oil in the compressor itself, and the oil looks good and it's up to the full mark. So hopefully we don't have any internal damage there. I guess the next thing to do, we'll go ahead and throw a quick connect fitting in this air outlet so we can actually build pressure in the tank and see what happens. No, it probably doesn't matter because there's no pressure in the tank right now, but there's an unloader right here. You flip this thing up and that allows it to just bypass the tank essentially. So there's no air pressure making it harder to start. So you get it started, once it is running smoothly, flip that thing down, then it starts building pressure. I don't like that. We're all the way up to 160 psi. The way that mechanism over there is supposed to, once it hits a certain psi, throttle down the engine and bypass the tank. And right now we have not bypassed yet, so that's kind of scary. We're up into a very high pressure zone. You know, these little tanks, they can essentially turn into a bomb, you know, if you get too much pressure in them. So maybe have a different look at this. Now it's hard wondering which gauge to trust to, because this one here is only up to 120 psi. So, you know, which one do you trust? This one's reading 160, this one's reading 120, a little under 120. I might have stopped it right at the pressure threshold because it's kind of unloaded right now. Maybe that gauge is right. I would think the pressure threshold is 120 psi. I'm going to plug this hose in. And we might rev up the compressor when we do that. Look at that, it's working good now. That's perfect. I still don't like the noise that's coming from this compressor, but it seems to be functioning correctly. All right, awesome. This thing is working. Like I say, I don't like the noise coming from this compressor. It kind of sounds clanky, like it maybe has a bad rod or something, but I don't think there's much I could do about that. This isn't like a serious heavy-duty commercial grade compressor or anything, so I doubt that you'd be able to find parts to rebuild said compressor, although I will look. Yeah, so it's kind of one of those situations where you just kind of run it till it blows, I think. Unfortunately. This air filter's ugly. I'm definitely going to order a new one, but it beats not having one on there at all right now, so I'll stick it back on. Alright, well essentially this thing's ready for action, so we'll go throw it on the truck and maybe get some use out of it. So anyways guys, that wraps up the project before the project, so now I can go do what I set out to do at the beginning of the day, now that it's, you know, afternoon. So Fat Boy's got to go eat and focus on the project at hand. But that's the focus of another video. So thanks for watching guys, I'll catch you on that video. Later.